fast God can move in your life. You don't understand that the universe, the source, the infinite intelligence that created everything you see and everything you don't see operates outside of time. This force that breathes life into you every single morning, that beats your heart without you even thinking about it, that heals your cuts and bruises while you sleep. This same force can transform your entire existence in a single moment. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. But here's what happens. We get stuck in our own thinking. We limit the infinite with our finite minds. We say things like, well, it's going to take me 10 years to get out of debt, or I'll never find love at my age, or I'm too old to start that business, or change is hard and slow. And every time you speak these words, every time you think these thoughts, you're creating that reality. You're telling the universe, this is what I believe, so this is what I want to experience. The universe doesn't operate on your time, the calendar, and say, oh, this person needs to suffer for 5 more years before I help them out. That's not how it works. That's never been how it works. The only thing that determines how fast your life changes is your willingness to let go of the story you've been telling yourself about how long it should take. Think about this for a moment. You've had experiences in your life where everything changed in an instant, haven't you? Maybe you met someone and in that single conversation, your whole perspective shifted. Maybe you read something, heard something, saw something that completely altered the way you viewed yourself and your possibilities. Maybe you had a moment of clarity where suddenly, after years of struggle, everything just made sense. These moments prove to you that rapid transformation is not only possible, it's natural. But then what do? We dismiss these moments as luck, as coincidence, as rare occurrences. We go right back to our old programming that says real change takes time. And so we continue to create that experience for ourselves. We continue to live in the slow lane when the fast lane has been available to us all along. Now, I'm not talking about some magical thinking here where you just wish for something and it appears. That's not what this is about. What I'm talking about is understanding that when you align yourself with source energy, when you shift your consciousness, when you change your inner world, your outer world has no choice but to reflect that change. And this reflection can happen instantaneously. You see, everything in your life right now is a result of your consciousness, your relationships, your bank account, your health, your happiness. All of it is a mirror of what's going on inside you. And the beautiful thing about a mirror is that when you change what's in front of it, the reflection changes immediately. It doesn't take time for the mirror to update. It doesn't need to process the information. It just reflects the new reality instantly. This is how your life works. You are living in a universe that is completely responsive to your inner state. But most people have it backwards. They think they need to change their outer circumstances first, and then they'll feel better inside. They say, well, when I get the money, then I'll feel abundant. When I meet the right person, then I'll feel loved. When I lose the weight, then I'll feel confident. But it doesn't work that way. It's never worked that way. The truth is, you need to feel abundant first, and then the money comes. You need to feel loved first, and then the relationship appears. You need to feel confident first, and then your body transforms. The inner always creates the outer. Always. And when you really grasp this, when you really get this at a level beyond just intellectual understanding, your life can change so fast it'll make your head spin. But here's the challenge. We've been conditioned to believe in struggle. We've been taught that anything worthwhile requires years of hard work and sacrifice. We've been programmed to think that if it comes easy, it's probably not real or it won't last. And this conditioning keeps us stuck in patterns that don't serve us. It keeps us playing small when we were meant to play big. Let me ask you something. How long does it take for God to create a sunset? How long does it take for the universe to spin a galaxy? How much time does Source need to grow a tree from a tiny seed? Everything in nature operates on divine timing, and divine timing is always perfect. It's never too early, never too late. And you are part of nature. You are not separate from this creative force. You are an expression of it. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing, do you? You trust the process. You trust that the seed knows what to do. You trust that the soil, the water, the sun, all the elements will come together to create growth. And growth happens when it happens. Sometimes a seed sprouts in days, sometimes it takes weeks. But you don't stand there yelling at the seed, you're taking too long, you should be a tree by now. That would be crazy, right? Yet this is exactly what we do with our own lives. We plant seeds of intention, and then we immediately start doubting, worrying, and complaining that nothing's happening. We forget that there's a gestation period for every creation. But here's the key. That gestation period has nothing to do with clock time. It has everything to do with your readiness, your openness, your alignment. when you're truly ready, when you've really shifted internally, when you've released the resistance and the doubt and the fear, things can manifest so quickly you won't believe it. I've seen people heal from diseases overnight. I've seen businesses take off in weeks after years of struggle. I've seen relationships transform in a single conversation. I've seen financial miracles happen in days, and every single time, it wasn't because the universe suddenly decided to hurry up. It was because the person finally got out of their own way. You are standing in your own way right now. You are blocking your own blessings with your beliefs about how long things should take. You are delaying your own miracles with your stories about limitation and lack. And the moment you drop these stories, the moment you stop insisting that change is slow and hard, that's the moment everything can shift. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but I've been trying to change for years. I've been working on myself. I've been doing everything right, and nothing's changed. And I want to speak to that because it's important. If you've been trying for years and nothing's changed, it's because you've been trying from the wrong place. You've been trying to force change from a place of ego, from a place of not enough, from a place of fear and desperation. Real transformation doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from letting go. It comes from surrendering. It comes from trusting that the universe knows what it's doing and that you are always being guided, always being supported, always being loved. When you can relax into this knowing, when you can stop pushing and start allowing, that's when miracles happen. And let me be clear about something. When I talk about surrendering and letting go, I'm not talking about giving up or being passive. I'm talking about releasing your attachment to how and when things should happen. I'm talking about doing what's yours to do with joy and enthusiasm and then trusting that the universe will handle the rest. I'm talking about taking inspired action rather than forced action. There's a huge difference. Forced action comes from fear. It's exhausting. It's stressful. It feels like you're pushing a boulder uphill. Inspired action comes from love. It's energizing. It's exciting. It feels like you're flowing downstream with the current. When you're taking inspired action, you're in alignment with Source. And when you're in alignment with Source, things happen fast. Doors open, people appear, opportunities show up, synchronicities multiply. It's like the whole universe is conspiring to help you. But when you're taking forced action, when you're operating from fear and lack, you're swimming against the current. You're telling the universe, I don't trust you, I have to make this happen on my own. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, reflects that back to you. It says, okay, if you want to do it alone, go ahead. Good luck with that. And then you wonder why everything feels so hard. Here's a truth that might be hard to hear. Your struggle is optional. Your suffering is a choice. Not consciously, of course. Nobody wakes up and says, I think I'll struggle today. But unconsciously, through your beliefs and your habitual thoughts and your conditioning, you are choosing to make things harder than they need to be. What if you made a different choice? What if you decided right now that you're done struggling? What if you chose to believe that everything you need is already on its way to you? What if you trusted that the universe is friendly, that life is for you, not against you? What if you opened yourself up to the possibility that your greatest good could show up in the next 5 minutes? Because it could. It really could. The person who could change your life could walk through your door today. The idea that could make you a fortune could pop into your head tonight. The healing you've been praying for could happen in your sleep. The relationship you've been wanting could begin with a single phone call. There is no rule that says you have to wait. There is no cosmic law that requires you to suffer for a certain amount of time before you're allowed to be happy. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that it has to be difficult. The only obstacle is your own mind, and your mind can change in an instant. One thought, one decision, one shift in perspective, and everything is different. Think about the people you admire, the ones who've created extraordinary lives. Do you think they're smarter than you? Do you think they're more deserving? Do you think the universe loves them more? Of course not. The only difference between them and you is that they believed in possibilities that you haven't allowed yourself to believe in yet. They gave themselves permission to receive what you're still telling yourself you can't have. And here's the beautiful thing. You can give yourself that permission right now. You don't need anyone else's approval. You don't need to wait until you're perfect or until you've figured everything out. You don't need to earn your worthiness. You are worthy simply because you exist. You are deserving simply because you are an expression of source energy. There is nothing you need to do or be or accomplish to deserve a good life. You already deserve it. But you have to claim it. You have to step into it. You have to be willing to receive it, and then we want out of it. Deep down, we're carrying around all this guilt and shame and unworthiness. And as long as we're carrying that around, we're not open to receive. It's like standing in front of a fountain with your hands in your pockets complaining that you're thirsty. The water's right there, the abundance is right there, the love, the joy, the prosperity, the health, it's all right there, flowing constantly from source, but you have to cup your hands. You have to open yourself up. You have to be willing to receive. And receiving is an art. It's a skill. Most of us are much better at giving than receiving. We've been taught that it's better to give than to receive, that receiving is selfish or weak. But that's just more programming that keeps us stuck. The universe is trying to give to you constantly. Life is trying to bless you at every turn. But if you're not willing to receive, if you're blocking the flow with your beliefs about unworthiness, then you're creating your own poverty consciousness. You're creating your own lack. So how do you shift this? How do you open yourself up to receive? How do you align yourself with the fast-moving current of divine grace? It starts with a decision. It starts with choosing in this moment to believe something different. It starts with saying to yourself, I am willing to let go of my old story. I am willing to believe that miracles are possible for me. I am willing to trust that the universe has my back. And then you watch what happens. You start noticing things. You start seeing signs. You start experiencing synchronicities, little things at first maybe. A phone call from an old friend, a check in the mail you weren't expecting, a compliment from a stranger. These are the universe's way of saying, yes, I hear you, I'm responding, keep going. But here's where most people mess up. They experience these little miracles and they dismiss them. They say, oh, that's just coincidence. That's just luck. That doesn't mean anything. And by dismissing them, they shut down the flow. They tell the universe, never mind, I don't really believe in this after all. What you need to do instead is celebrate every little sign, acknowledge every synchronicity, express gratitude for every small miracle. Because when you do that, you're telling the universe, yes, more of this, please. I'm paying attention, I'm receiving, keep it coming. And the universe will respond by sending you bigger and bigger miracles until you're living in a constant state of wonder and amazement. This is how fast God can move in your life. Not someday when you're ready, not after you've done more work on yourself, not when you've suffered enough or learned enough lessons. Right now, today, this moment. The only question is, are you willing to let it happen? Are you willing to release your grip on how you think things should be and allow them to be even better than you imagined? Are you willing to stop insisting on your timeline and trust in divine timing? Are you willing to let go of the struggle and step into ease? Are you willing to receive the abundance that's trying to reach you? Because I promise you, the moment you truly open yourself up, the moment you really say yes to the life that's waiting for you, things will start moving so fast you'll barely be able to keep up. Opportunities will flood in. People will show up to help you. Resources will appear out of nowhere. Doors that were locked for years will suddenly swing wide open. And you'll look back on this moment and wonder why you waited so long to allow it. But don't waste time looking back. Don't waste energy regretting the past or wishing you'd known this sooner. The past is gone. It's done. You can't change it. All you have is now, and now is where all your power is. Now is where the magic happens. Now is where God moves. Every single morning, you wake up to a brand new reality. Every single moment is an opportunity to choose differently. You're not stuck. You're not limited by your history. You're not bound by your mistakes or your failures or your fears. Those are all just stories, and stories can be rewritten. So write a new story. Tell yourself a different tale. Instead of, this is going to take forever, say, I am open to rapid transformation. Instead of, nothing ever works out for me, say, the universe is always working in my favor. Instead of, I'm too old, too young, too broken, too whatever, say, I am exactly where I need to be and everything is unfolding perfectly. And watch how your life responds. Watch how reality shifts to match your new story, because it will. It has to. That's the law. That's how this whole thing works. Your outer world is always reflecting your inner world. Always. No exceptions. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about all the bad things that happen? What about the challenges and the difficulties? Are you saying I created those too? And the answer is yes and no. You didn't consciously create them, but your consciousness did contribute to creating them. Not as punishment, but as a learning opportunity. Not because you're bad, but because you're expanding. Every challenge you face is an invitation to grow. Every difficulty is pushing you toward your greater good. Every obstacle is redirecting you toward a better path. But you don't have to make this process long and painful. You can learn quickly. You can evolve rapidly. You can take the lesson and move on. You don't have to keep repeating the same patterns over and over for years. The universe is always speaking to you, always guiding you, always showing you the way. But you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to pay attention. You have to be willing to follow the signs even when they don't make logical sense. Because divine guidance doesn't always look logical to the human mind. It often looks like a detour or a delay or a disappointment. But if you trust it, if you follow it, you'll eventually see that it was leading you exactly where you needed to go. I've seen this happen so many times in my own life and in the lives of countless others. The job that fell through led to an even better opportunity. The relationship that ended made space for true love. The business that failed taught the lessons that led to massive success. The illness that terrified became the wake-up call that changed everything for the better. None of it was random. None of it was punishment. It was all guidance. It was all God moving, even when it didn't feel like it at the time. So when things aren't going the way you planned, instead of resisting, instead of complaining, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what is this teaching me? Where is this leading me? How is this serving my highest good? When you ask better questions, you get better answers. When you look for the blessing in the challenge, you find it. And when you find it, the challenge dissolves. It doesn't have to hang around anymore because you've received the message. This is how you speed up your evolution. This is how you accelerate your growth. This is how you let God move quickly in your life. You stop resisting what is. You stop fighting against reality. You stop insisting that things should be different than they are. Instead, you accept what is, you find the gift in it, and you move forward with faith and trust. And here's what happens when you do that. The universe sees that you're ready for more. It sees that you can handle greater blessings. It sees that you're not going to waste time complaining and resisting. So it sends you more opportunities, more abundance, more love, more joy. It accelerates your good because you've proven that you're ready to receive it. But when you're constantly in resistance, when you're always fighting against what is, when you're spending all your energy complaining about how unfair life is, you're not ready, you're not open, you're not in a state of receptivity. And so the universe waits, not because it wants to punish you, but because it knows that giving you more while you're in that state would just lead to more suffering. It's like giving $1 million to someone who hates money. They wouldn't enjoy it. They'd find a way to lose it or sabotage it. They're not a vibrational match for wealth, so they can't sustain it. Same thing with love. If you don't love yourself, if you don't believe you're worthy of love, you can't sustain a healthy relationship. You'll sabotage it. You'll push it away because you're not a match for it yet. So the work isn't about getting what you want. The work is about becoming a match for what you want. The work is about shifting your vibration, changing your beliefs, transforming your consciousness, and when you do that inner work, the outer results follow automatically. They have to. That's the law. And here's the exciting part. That inner work doesn't have to take years. You can shift your consciousness in a moment. You can change a belief in an instant. You can transform your vibration with a single decision. I've seen it happen. I've experienced it myself. One moment of clarity, one powerful insight, one genuine shift in perspective, and everything changes. Think about it. How long does it take to change your mind about something? How much time does it require to choose a different thought? How many years do you need to decide to believe something new? None. It's instant. And if consciousness can shift instantly, and consciousness creates your reality, then your reality can shift just as quickly. But again, you have to be willing. You have to be open. You have to stop clinging to your old identity, your old story, your old limitations. You have to be willing to step into the unknown, to try something new, to believe in possibilities you've never allowed yourself to consider before. And I know that's scary. The unknown is scary. Change is scary. Even when it's positive change, even when it's what we say we want, it's still scary because it's unfamiliar. We'd rather stay in our comfortable misery than risk the discomfort of transformation. At least misery is familiar. At least we know what to expect. But let me tell you something. That fear is just the ego trying to keep you safe. It's trying to protect you from what it perceives as danger. But growth isn't dangerous. Evolution isn't dangerous. Becoming more of who you really are isn't dangerous. What's dangerous is staying stuck, staying small, staying in patterns that don't serve you just because they're comfortable. Real danger is living a life that doesn't reflect your truth. Real danger is getting to the end of your time here and realizing you never really lived, you never took the chances, you never bet on yourself, you never let yourself receive the good that was always available to you. That's what you should be afraid of. Not change, not transformation, not miracles happening too fast. So make a choice right now Choose to let God move quickly in your life. Choose to open yourself up to rapid transformation. Choose to believe that everything you need can show up faster than you ever thought possible. Choose to trust that the universe has something better in mind for you than anything you could plan for yourself. And then watch what happens. Watch how life responds to your new openness. Watch how doors begin to open. Watch how people show up. Watch how opportunities multiply. Watch how what once seemed impossible becomes not only possible but inevitable. Because that's what happens when you align yourself with Source. That's what happens when you get out of your own way. That's what happens when you stop limiting the infinite with your finite thinking. The floodgates open, the abundance flows, the miracles happen, and they happen fast, faster than you ever imagined they could. You don't understand how fast God can move in your life because you've never really allowed it. You've been putting up barriers, creating delays, insisting on struggle. But what if you stopped? What if you just surrendered? What if you just said, okay, universe, I'm ready. Show me what you've got. Show me how good it can get. Show me how fast things can change when I get out of the way. That's all it takes. That simple willingness, that genuine openness, that authentic surrender, and then everything shifts. Then the real magic begins. Then you start living the life you were always meant to live, the life that's been waiting for you all along, the life that God always wanted you to have. So stop waiting, stop preparing, stop thinking you need to be more ready or more worthy or more anything. You're ready now, you're worthy now, you're enough now. Open your hands, open your heart, open your mind, and receive. Receive the blessings, receive the miracles, receive the abundance, receive the love, receive the joy. It's all there for you. It's always been there for you. You just have to let it in. And when you do, when you finally let it in, you'll understand. You'll understand how fast God can move. You'll understand that time is not the obstacle you thought it was. You'll understand that you've always been one decision away from a completely different life. And you'll wonder why you waited so long. But don't waste time wondering. Just receive, just allow, just be. And watch your life transform before your very eyes, faster than you ever dreamed possible, more beautifully than you ever imagined, more abundantly than you ever thought you deserved. Because you do deserve it. You always did. And now, finally, you're letting yourself have it. This is your time. This is your moment. This is when everything changes. Not someday, not when you're ready, right now, because you are ready. You've always been ready. God has been ready since the beginning of time. The only question was, when would you be willing? And the answer is now. The answer is this moment. The answer is yes. Say yes to the miracles. Say yes to the transformation. Say yes to the rapid, wonderful, amazing changes that are already on their way to you. Say yes to God moving fast in your life, because God is ready to move. The universe is ready to deliver. Source is ready to bless you beyond measure. All you have to do is stop saying no. All you have to do is open up and receive. All you have to do is believe. So believe. Believe in the impossible. Believe in the miraculous. Believe in the speed of divine grace. Believe that your life can change in an instant. Believe that everything you've been waiting for is already here. Believe that you don't have to wait anymore, because you don't. You really don't. You just have to choose. Choose now. Choose yes. Choose to let God move. And then hold on, because it's going to be one amazing ride.
You are standing at a crossroads right now, whether you know it or not. Your life is being shaped by forces far greater than you can see with your physical eyes. And there are signs all around you that something magnificent is trying to get your attention. Most people walk through life asleep, never recognizing that they are being guided, being led, being called toward their highest purpose. But you are different. The very fact that you are here right now tells me that something within you is awakening to a truth that has always been there, waiting for you to notice it. There is an intelligence in this universe that knows exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, and exactly how to bring it to you. Some call it God, some call it the universe, some call it source energy or higher power. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that you begin to recognize the signs that this intelligence is actively working in your life right now, at this very moment. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And the sooner you recognize this, the sooner your entire life will transform in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Let me share something with you that changed everything for me. When you begin to pay attention, when you become aware and conscious of what is happening around you and within you, you start to notice patterns. You start to see that what you once called coincidence is actually something far more meaningful. You start to understand that your life is not a series of random events, but rather a beautifully orchestrated symphony where every note, every pause, every crescendo is part of a larger composition that is being played just for you. The first sign that you are being guided is when you start to notice synchronicities in your life. Now, what are synchronicities? They are those moments when things line up in such a perfect way that you cannot help but feel that something bigger is at work. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and within hours, they call you. You need an answer to a problem that has been plaguing you, and you randomly open a book to the exact page that contains the wisdom you need. You feel drawn to take a different route to work, and later you find out that your usual route was blocked by an accident. These are not accidents. These are not coincidences. These are the universe speaking to you, showing you that you are connected to something far greater than your individual self. When you start paying attention to these synchronicities, something remarkable happens. They start to occur more frequently. It's as if the universe says, finally you are paying attention, let me show you more. And suddenly your life becomes filled with these magical moments where everything seems to fall into place at exactly the right time. This is not magic in the supernatural sense. This is you aligning with the natural flow of life, with the intelligence that governs all things. But here is what most people do. They notice these synchronicities, they feel that little tingle of excitement, that sense of wonder, and then their rational mind steps in and says, that was just a coincidence, don't be silly, don't get carried away. And in that moment, they shut down the very channel through which guidance is trying to reach them. They close the door that was beginning to open. Don't make that mistake. When you notice these synchronicities, acknowledge them, say thank you, recognize them as the signs they are. The more you acknowledge them, the more they will appear, and the more you will feel connected to the source of all guidance. The second sign that you are being guided is when you experience a sense of inner knowing. This is different from thinking. This is different from analyzing or figuring things out with your mind. This is a feeling that comes from somewhere beyond your rational thinking, a certainty that exists in your gut, in your heart, in your very bones. You just know something, even though you cannot explain how you know it or why you know it. You might call it intuition. You might call it a gut feeling. But whatever you call it, it is real, and it is one of the most powerful forms of guidance you will ever receive. Here is the problem, though. We live in a society that has taught us to trust only what we can see, measure, prove, and rationalize. We have been trained to discount our feelings, to ignore our intuition, to suppress that inner voice that speaks to us in whispers. We have been told that if we cannot explain something logically, then it must not be valid. And so we override our inner knowing with our thinking, and we make decisions based on what makes sense to our mind rather than what feels right in our soul. And then we wonder why we end up in situations that leave us feeling empty, unfulfilled, and lost. When you feel that inner knowing, that pull towards something or away from something, pay attention. Your rational mind might not understand it. Other people might not understand it. You might not even understand it yourself. But that does not make it any less real or any less important. That inner knowing is the voice of the divine, speaking directly to you, guiding you toward what is meant for you and away from what is not. The more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. The more you follow it, the more clearly you will hear it. And as you develop this trust in your inner knowing, you will find that you make better decisions, you attract better opportunities, and your life begins to flow with an ease that once seemed impossible. The third sign that you are being guided is when obstacles that once seemed insurmountable suddenly dissolve or transform. You have been struggling with something for weeks, months, maybe even years. You have been pushing and forcing and trying to make something happen through sheer willpower, and then suddenly, without any logical explanation, the situation shifts. The person who was blocking you suddenly changes their mind. The opportunity you needed suddenly appears. The solution you could not find suddenly becomes obvious. This is guidance in action. But here is what you need to understand. Sometimes the guidance comes in the form of doors opening, and sometimes it comes in the form of doors closing. Both are equally important. When a door closes, when an opportunity falls through, when something you wanted does not work out, your first reaction might be disappointment or frustration. You might feel like you are being punished or that the universe is against you. But what if I told you that every closed door is actually protection? What if every rejection is actually redirection? What if every obstacle is actually the universe saying, not this way, I have something better for you? The universe is always guiding you toward your highest good, but your highest good might not look like what you think it should look like. Your ego might want one thing, but your soul knows what you truly need. And so when doors close, instead of fighting against it, instead of feeling victimized by it, try asking yourself, what is this protecting me from? Where is this redirecting me? Because I promise you, when you look back on your life, you will see that some of the best things that ever happened to you were the things that didn't happen. You will see that you were being guided even when you thought you were being rejected. The fourth sign that you are being guided is when you feel an unexplainable sense of peace in the midst of chaos. Life throws challenges at all of us. There is no escaping that. We all face difficulties, losses, disappointments, and pain. But there are moments, even in the darkest times, when you feel a sense of calm that does not make logical sense given your circumstances. You feel held, you feel supported, you feel like somehow, some way, everything is going to be okay, even though you cannot see how. This is not denial, this is not positive thinking gone wild. This is a spiritual truth that your soul recognizes, even when your mind does not understand it. This peace that passes understanding, as the ancient texts call it, is evidence that you are connected to something greater than your temporary circumstances. It is proof that there is a part of you that knows you are more than your problems, more than your pain, more than your present situation. This peace is the feeling of divine presence, and when you feel it, even for a moment, you are experiencing direct guidance. You are being reminded that you are not alone, that you are being carried, that you are being led through the darkness toward the light. The key is to not dismiss this peace when it comes. So often we feel that moment of calm, and then we immediately start thinking again, worrying again, analyzing again, and we talk ourselves out of the peace we were just given. We think we need to be constantly vigilant, constantly concerned, constantly figuring things out. But what if the peace itself is the guidance? What if the message is simply, relax, trust, I've got this? When you feel that peace, sink into it. Let it fill you. Let it remind you that there is a benevolent force at work in your life that is far more powerful than any challenge you face. The fifth sign that you are being guided is when people appear in your life at exactly the right moment with exactly what you need. Have you ever noticed how someone will show up with a word of encouragement just when you are ready to give up? How a stranger will offer help just when you need it most? How a friend will call just when you are feeling most alone? These are not random occurrences. These people are being used as instruments of guidance, as messengers delivering exactly what you need to hear or experience at exactly the right time. But here is what is even more beautiful. Not only are you receiving guidance through other people, but you are also being used to guide others. When you feel prompted to reach out to someone, to offer a kind word, to help in some way, that is not random either. That is the universe working through you to deliver guidance to someone else. We are all connected in this invisible web of energy and consciousness, and we are constantly being used to help each other, to guide each other, to remind each other of who we really are and what we are really capable of. So, pay attention to the people who come into your life. Every person is there for a reason. Some are there for a season, some are there for a reason, and some are there for a lifetime. But all of them are there as part of your guidance system. Even the difficult people, even the ones who challenge you or frustrate you, they are there to teach you something, to help you grow, to push you toward becoming more of who you are meant to be. When you start seeing every person as a teacher, every interaction as a lesson, every relationship as an opportunity for growth, you begin to see the divine guidance in absolutely everything. The sixth sign that you are being guided is when you feel called towards something that does not make logical sense but makes perfect sense to your soul. This is one of the most powerful forms of guidance, and it is also one of the most frequently ignored. You feel drawn to make a change in your life. You feel pulled toward a new career, a new location, a new way of being, but when you look at it logically, it seems crazy, it seems impractical, it seems risky, and so you talk yourself out of it. You listen to the voices of others who tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to not rock the boat. And in doing so, you ignore the very guidance that is trying to lead you to your purpose. Here is a truth that might be hard to hear. Your purpose will rarely make sense to anyone else. It might not even make sense to you at first. But that does not make it any less real or any less important. Your purpose is not something you figure out with your mind. It is something you feel with your soul. It is that thing that lights you up, that makes you come alive, that fills you with a sense of meaning and fulfillment, even if it does not come with a big paycheck or impressive title. When you feel that call, that pull, that sense that you are meant to do something or be something or go somewhere, pay attention. That is guidance speaking to you in the clearest way possible. Now, I am not saying you should be reckless. I am not saying you should quit your job tomorrow and jump off a cliff without a parachute. But I am saying that you should take that feeling seriously. Explore it. Investigate it. Take small steps in that direction and see what unfolds. Because when you start moving in the direction of your soul's calling, the universe will meet you halfway. Opportunities will appear. Resources will show up. People will come into your life to help you. Doors will open that you did not even know existed. But none of that can happen if you never take the first step. None of that can happen if you stay stuck in what is safe and comfortable and logical. The seventh sign that you are being guided is when you experience a series of challenges that, looking back, you can see were preparing you for something greater. In the moment, these challenges feel like setbacks. They feel like punishment. They feel like evidence that life is unfair and that nothing ever works out for you. But when you get to the other side, when you look back with the perspective that only time can give, you see that every challenge was actually strengthening you, shaping you, preparing you for what was coming next. Think about the difficult times in your own life. Think about the losses, the failures, the disappointments, the pain. Now look at who you are today. Look at the strength you developed. Look at the wisdom you gained. Look at the compassion you now have for others who are going through similar struggles. Would you have developed those qualities without the challenges? Probably not. The challenges were not there to break you. They were there to break you open, to crack through the shell of who you thought you were so that you could become who you are truly meant to be. This is one of the most profound forms of guidance, but it is also one of the hardest to recognize because it requires us to trust that there is a purpose in our pain. It requires us to believe that we are being guided even when everything feels like it is falling apart. It requires faith. And faith is not about being certain. Faith is about trusting even when you cannot see the whole picture, even when you do not understand why things are happening the way they are happening. Faith is about saying, I don't know why this is happening, but I trust that there is a reason. I trust that I am being guided. I trust that something good will come from this. The eighth and final sign that you are being guided is when you feel a sense of gratitude for no apparent reason. You wake up one morning and you just feel thankful. Not because anything particularly wonderful happened, not because you got what you wanted, but simply because you feel blessed to be alive. This spontaneous gratitude is one of the clearest indicators that you are aligned with divine guidance, because gratitude is the natural state of a soul that recognizes its connection to the source of all good. When you feel grateful, you are in harmony with the flow of life. You are acknowledging that you have been given much, that you are supported, that you are loved. And in that state of gratitude, you become a magnet for more blessings, more guidance, more miracles. Gratitude is not just something you do, it is something you become. It is a way of being that transforms everything. When you are grateful, you see the world differently. You notice the beauty that was always there, but that you were too busy or too stressed to see. You recognize the abundance that surrounds you, even if your bank account does not reflect the number you want it to be. You feel rich in the ways that truly matter. So how do you cultivate this gratitude? You start where you are. You look around at your life right now with all its imperfections and challenges, and you find something to be thankful for. Maybe it is your health. Maybe it is a person who loves you. Maybe it is a roof over your head or food on your table. Maybe it is simply the fact that you have another day to try again, to grow, to become more of who you are meant to be. You start there and you build from there. Every day, you look for things to be grateful for. And as you do, you will notice that your list gets longer and longer because gratitude has a way of multiplying. The more you notice what you have, the more you have to notice. Now, let me bring all of this together for you. These 8 signs, these indicators that you are being guided, they are not separate things. They are all connected. They are all part of the same divine intelligence that is working in your life every single day. When you start recognizing these signs, when you start paying attention to the synchronicities, trusting your inner knowing, accepting the opening and closing of doors, feeling the peace and chaos, noticing the people who show up, following your soul's calling, finding the purpose in your challenges, and experiencing spontaneous gratitude, your entire life begins to shift. You move from feeling like a victim of circumstance to recognizing yourself as a co-creator with the universe. You move from anxiety and fear to trust and faith. You move from feeling alone and unsupported to feeling held and guided every step of the way. This is not a small shift. This is a complete transformation in how you experience life. And the most beautiful part is that it does not require you to change your external circumstances. It simply requires you to change your awareness, to open your eyes to what has always been there. But I want to be clear about something. Recognizing these signs does not mean that your life will suddenly become perfect or that you will never face challenges again. That is not what guidance is about. Guidance is not about making your life easy. It is about making your life meaningful. It is about helping you become who you are meant to be. And sometimes, becoming who you are meant to be requires you to go through difficult experiences that stretch you and challenge you and force you to grow in ways you never would have grown if everything had been easy. So when the challenges come, and they will come, do not interpret that as a lack of guidance. Do not think that you have done something wrong or that you are no longer connected to Source. Instead, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How is this helping me grow? Where is this guiding me? Because I promise you, there is always a gift in every challenge, even if you cannot see it in the moment. There is always guidance, even in the darkest valleys. And here is something else I want you to understand. You do not have to wait until you have it all figured out to start living as if you are being guided. You do not have to wait until you see all 8 signs clearly before you start trusting. You can start right now, right where you are, with whatever level of awareness you currently have. You can start by simply being open to the possibility that there is more going on than what meets the eye. You can start by paying a little more attention to the synchronicities in your life. You can start by listening to your inner knowing, even if it is just a whisper right now. You can start by looking for the lessons in your challenges instead of just complaining about them. You can start by expressing gratitude for something, anything, every single day. As you do these things, as you practice recognizing the guidance that is already present in your life, something miraculous will happen. The guidance will become clearer. The signs will become more obvious. Your intuition will become stronger. Your faith will deepen. And little by little, step by step, you will find yourself living a completely different life. Not because your external circumstances have necessarily changed dramatically, though they might, but because your internal experience has transformed. You will go from feeling lost to feeling guided, from feeling alone to feeling connected, from feeling anxious to feeling at peace. This is available to you right now, not someday when you are more spiritual or more enlightened or more deserving, right now. Because you are already spiritual. You are already connected to Source. You are already deserving of all the guidance and support the universe has to offer. The only question is whether you will open yourself to receive it. Will you pay attention to the signs? Will you trust what you feel? Will you follow where you are being led, even when the path is not clear? Let me share something with you that I have learned through my own experience and through working with thousands of people over the years. The universe is always conspiring in your favor, always. Even when it does not look like it, even when everything seems to be going wrong, even when you feel like you are being tested beyond your limits. There is a benevolent intelligence that knows what you need, and it is working tirelessly to bring you the experiences, the people, the lessons, and the opportunities that will help you evolve into your highest self. But here's the thing. This guidance cannot force itself upon you. It can only work with you, not for you. It needs your participation. It needs your willingness to see, to trust, to act. Think of it like this. The universe is like a loving parent who wants the best for you, but who also respects your free will. This parent will put opportunities in front of you, will send signs and signals, will try to steer you in the right direction. But ultimately, you have to choose to follow the guidance. You have to choose to walk through the doors that open. You have to choose to trust when things are uncertain. You have to choose to keep going when things get hard. And this choosing, this conscious participation in your own guidance, this is where your power lies. You are not a puppet being controlled by some external force. You are a powerful creator working in partnership with the divine intelligence of the universe. And the more consciously you engage with this partnership, the more magical your life becomes. You start to see that you can trust yourself because you are never truly alone in making decisions. You have access to infinite wisdom and guidance if you will only quiet your mind enough to hear it and trust your heart enough to follow it. So what do you do when you feel confused? What do you do when you cannot see the signs clearly? What do you do when your inner knowing seems silent? You get still. You get quiet. You create space for guidance to come through. Because here is what happens. Most of us are so busy, so distracted, so caught up in the noise of life that we cannot hear the guidance even when it is trying to get through to us. We are constantly stimulated, constantly consuming information, constantly doing. And in all that busyness, the still small voice of guidance gets drowned out. This is why practices like meditation, time in nature, journaling, and simply sitting in silence are so valuable. They create space for you to hear what is trying to come through. They allow you to tune into a different frequency, one where the guidance is always broadcasting, but that you cannot pick up when your mind is full of chatter. You do not have to be perfect at these practices. You do not have to meditate for an hour every day or retreat to a mountain cave. Even 5 minutes of quiet time, of asking for guidance and then listening, can make a profound difference. And when you ask for guidance, be specific. Do not just say, "Give me a sign," tell the universe what you need help with. Ask for clarity on a specific decision. Ask for strength to get through a specific challenge. Ask for the right people to come into your life to help you with a specific goal. The more specific you are, the more specific the guidance can be. And then after you ask, pay attention. Watch for the signs. Notice what shows